Okay, today we're going to learn the halachas. We already went over it, I think, once, but we're going to elaborate on it a little bit more. What could you do from your meiser geld? Could you donate it to shul? Could you buy sforim? Or if parents that obligated themselves to pay for the young children that got married, the youngsters to pay for them a few years of supporting them while they're in koilel, if they could pay the Samaisa get on. That's what we're going to learn today. So the Beis Yosef and Resh Mem Tes, he brings from the Ma'arik, he brings two inyonim l'gabay the tzedakah of Meiser Geld. So it says like this: Ma'arik b'sheresh kufchav gimel al moed tzedakah shoyu b'yad gabay. So we're going to learn about over here two inyonim: moed tzedakah that came to the gabay, or the next Beis Yosef that you still have it in your hand and you want to give it out yourself. Gabay, you're giving to the Gabay, you should give it to whoever he believes that's the most appropriate to give. So what they should do with it? So Moed tzedakah should be at Gabay. Omar, ila didi tzayis, if you would listen to me, says the Ma'arik, Yasim oisan moez besulas aniyos. You should marry girls that are poor, that they need to get married, and they don't have the means to get married, the financial means. Because whoever gave the money to the Gaba, you give it to do tzedakah, and the tzedakah would be the most appropriate one to give it to besulas aniyas. Upshita says the enlechot tzedakah gedolam izu. That's like the highest level of tzedakah. Basically, achnas askala would be over here. Then he goes like this. Ubesheresh kuf chavches. Later on, he writes over there that he learned from the words of the Tashbetz. Shem Harash Mitocha Yerushalmi. At the end of Maseches Peah, it says over there. From that, the Ma'arik conclude the mitzvahs besakneses are different from a mitzvah tzedakah. It's better to give to shul than to give it to aniyim. That's like if you have a choice between supporting a shul or aniyim, give it to the shul. He says, unless he says, and that's all from the Yerushalmi over there. Unless you have cholim hamutolim be'ashpa, neglected poor people, sick, poor. So and as we're going to see, it's more clearer in the Shulchan Aruch over there that this is if you have not just poor and sick and neglected, that nobody could take care of them, so they come before the shul. But the regular poor and the shul, he says, that's what the Ma'arik brings from the Yerushalmi. The shul, he says, comes first. Oh, another thing that comes before the shul, he says, people are going to yeshiva, they need support to go to yeshiva, to help them with schar limud, that also comes first. Okay. So again, according to the Beis Yosef from the Ma'arik, what he brings, that if it's not a special occasion, either a poor kala, or a bocher going to the yeshiva and needs help with the schar limud, or if it's not an onion sick also that he needs to have medical attention, so the shul comes first. Now, this whole thing, the Darchem Moshe, he quotes the Beis Yosef, then he concludes at the end, Kosav Maril, he says, Oisam b'nei Adam anoistim meister shel leneres besakneses sheloi kadinem oisim. People give money to the shul to buy candles. Today would be paying for utilities. He says, it's not right, he says. He says, the reason for it, the meiser shayach lahonas by aniyim. The meiser, it comes, it's already like that belongs to them. You can't take it away. If somebody gives meiser, it's already belongs to the aniyim, so you can transform take the money and give it to the shul, take it away from the aniyim. It's money of the aniyim, so you should. So comes out the lemeiser lalocha lemeiser in Shulchan Aruch. That's how they pasken. The end of Resh Mem Tes, the Chaber brings like this. The Gabay Tzedakah says that to give the money, the Gabay Tzedakah should be the Moed Tzedakah Yasiu B'Hem Besulas Aniyas Shen Tzedakah Gedolam Iseh. What he brought the first Ma'arik over there, that we give it to the poor kalas, and the Shach adds from the Maharal El Shakar, he brings over there Davka Yesoimus. When we say that the biggest mitzvah to give to the Achnos Askal, it's only if they're orphaned. So he says, if they're not orphaned, he says it's not so sure that comes first. Like there's more obligation on the father. It's already now you're talking about an oni that the father have to pay for it, or shul. So maybe going back to the next halacha, yesh meshomer shemitzvah besakneses adifa b'mitzvah tzedakah. That's the ma'arik. That's how we understood from the Yerushalmi. So that's what he paskened of it. Then he says, mitzvahs tzedakah lanorim lilmod Torah or lechoilim aniyim. Again, only poor that are sick. Other mitzvah besakneses. They come before shul, but otherwise the regular oni and the shul, according to the Beis Yosef paskend, like the Maharik that brings from the Yerushalmi, that the shul is odif. Now, in the beginning of Reish Mem Tes, the Ramah brings v'en la'asas meiser shaloi dvar mitzvah goneres lebasakneses or shar dvar mitzvah rak itnena la'aniyim. That's exactly what we read from the Darche Moshe and the Tur. He follows the Maharil, not the Maharik. That the mitzvah of meiser geld should go to the aniyim. They own this money already. You cannot take it away from them and redirect it to the shul or any other mitzvahs. That's have to go to the aniyim. So if somebody looks at it on the surface, looks like somebody would ask, so what do I do with the money? You could say, machlokes Ashkenazim and Sfardim. That's what you would say. Ashkenazim saying going to the poor people, Sfardim say going to the shul. But not so fast. The Levush, which is Talmud of the Ramah, he does not quote anything from his Rebbe about what his Rebbe the Ramah said that goes to the aniyim. He bedavka quotes the Beis Yosef. I'm going to read word for word. Yesh meshomer shemitzvahs besakneses adifam mitzvahs tzedakah. Yeah, and then he goes with the Beis Yosef. If it's yeshiva bocherim or poor sick people, they go first. Otherwise, so the Ramah pasken like the Mechaber that the shul, if it's a regular oni, not choila, oni choila, regular oni, and the
Levush, not the Ramah.
The Levush pasken like the Shulchan Aruch. That I said the Ramah. I'm sorry. It's the Levush pasken like the Ramah. If there is a regular oni and shul, the shul comes first. That's what the Levush pasken. Now, then we have a lot of bunch of poskim, Ashkenazi poskim like the Shach, the Taz, the Marshal, the Drisha, all of them saying not like the Ramah. The Taz first of all said, we already mentioned this once, that buying aliyah in a shul, you cannot, after you already bought the aliyah, it turned to obligation to you. You have a choiv to pay the shul. You cannot pay this for meiser geld because you can't pay your choives, your obligations from meiser geld. But before you buying the aliyah, you could have in mind, I'm buying it from meiser. So he says clearly, according to the Taz, you could buy aliyah in shul and pay for meiser if you had it in mind before you bought it. And as I mentioned last time also, according to this, you cannot pay your membership in shul from meiser geld because that's already choiv. That's it's part of them. That's your chiyuv. You cannot pay your chiyuvim from meiser geld. But stam tzedakah you want to give to shul, you could give it. That's no problem. Okay. Then the Shach brings from the Marshal and the Drisha. It says like this: Marshal va Drisha kosu b'shem tshuvas Maharam. That's Maharam in Rothenburg. The chol mitzvah shetovoy liyodai. Kegon liyas bal bris. They honor you to be a sandik. And the minhag is the Baal Bris, the Sandik, is an Indian. You should participate in the expenses of the bris, whether paying for the Suda, paying for the Moyel, or Lahachnis Chosin Vakala Lechupa. You want to give the money for Achnis Skala. To buy Sforim from Meiser Geld that for him and for others to read, because if it's tzedakah money, that's for everybody, it's not his. It says like this, but there's a little string attached to it. The only time you could pay this from Meiser, if otherwise you would not be able to afford to do this. You will not be able to afford to be a sandik, pay for the expenses of the bris, unless you pay for Meiser geld. You won't be able to buy some sforim, otherwise you won't buy the sforim. You would give up on buying unless it's for Meiser, so then you could buy it for the shul and learn also from the sforim, and so on and so forth. If all this mitzvahs, Achnos Skala, Baal Bris, or buying Sfarim, you would not do this mitzvahs unless you bought from Meiser, then you could do it. But if you could afford it, then according to this comes out, if somebody honored you to be a sandik, you could afford to pay for it, you should pay for it from your own money, not from Meiser. But you see from here, there's a lot more what you could do. Now, the Meiser is like this. So what the Meiser to do over here? They have the Ramah, we just read last week. He's the leader of the Ashkenazi poskim, you have other poskim, so to the Levais. But emphasis, we mentioned this many times. If you follow this rule, what we mentioned before, so you have to use your tzedakah, your ma'aser, and diversify them, then you could be answered with all the days. We said already, even ani ircha koidmim, or your relative come first, but you can't give the whole tzedakah to them. We already spoke about in the previous shiurim, whether you take it half and half, or 2/3 and a third. So if you diversify, then you should give it to everybody. You should give some tzedakah, some to the aniyim, and some to other stuff. If you do that, the mele, it's not even the old maskim. You cannot put all your tzedakah in one basket. You have to diversify them. In mele, you could be yotze with all the days. Now, the Gabe paying, and by the way, on top of all this poskim, also comes the Chassam Sofer. The Pesach Shiur brings him. He says what the Ramo said, or which is he relies on the Maharil, that you give it to Anim only if you got used to already. Give it to the Anim, so it becomes like a posture that's like given. If you give Meiser Gel, you already, it's there, Zoich in that. But when you start being careful with Meiser, if you diversify it, then that doesn't belong to the Anim. To begin with, you're giving it to everybody. So maybe it doesn't belong to them. Now, also he answers the question if parents could pay support the young light, the young couple that got married to be in koilel for a year or for a few years. He said like this: if when you made the tanoim, you didn't think I'm going to give him meiser. First, you took an obligation. He said, I'm going to support the young couple for a few years. He said, then you cannot pay this for meiser because now it's your choiv, it's your obligation. But if to begin with you had in mind, I'm going to pay for meiser, he says, then you could pay it from meiser. Rabbi Chanan ben Akash